Welcome to Chapter 8 entitled, Documenting Pharmaceutical Care. Documentation of pharmaceutical care has been advocated for close to 30 years for a number of reasons, not least to enable patient follow-up of managed or resolved drug-related problems, abbreviated as DRPs. The first pharmaceutical care documentation was performed in the US, followed by the Netherlands and Sweden, and has also been performed in Canada, in additional countries in Europe and in Australia. The creation of drug-related problem classification systems was necessary for a systematized documentation of pharmaceutical care, which in turn was facilitated by the development of computerized documentation instruments, incorporated into software programs. Statistics on documented drug-related problem data and free text information may serve as educational material for continuing professional development, aimed at further improving the drug-related problem detection skills. The documentation may also be used to get a deeper understanding of both causes and characteristics of drug-related problems and to demonstrate the potential societal cost savings of pharmaceutical care. We will now address the question, why document? There are several reasons for documenting pharmaceutical care, as presented in Chapter 2. Documentation is a cornerstone of care provision and therefore also of pharmaceutical care. It is necessary to enable patient follow-up of managed or resolved drug-related problems. Only those pharmaceutical care activities that are documented can be used for professional and political discussions, promoting the idea of pharmacists becoming recognized, and at a later point in time reimbursed, for their value-adding service. Basic software programs of pharmaceutical care therefore comprise standardized forms for the documentation of drug-related problems and the interventions taken to solve them. Documentation of drug-related problems and pharmaceutical care has been performed in Europe, North America and Australia, and perhaps elsewhere. Next we will discuss the development of pharmaceutical care documentation. Already in the late 1980s and early 1990s, publications on the need for documenting pharmaceutical care appeared in the US, where Strand and colleagues presented an instrument aimed at standardizing the documentation of a clinical pharmacist's database, patient care activities and therapeutic plans. A process named the Pharmacist's Workup on Drug Therapy, abbreviated as PWDT, was created, consisting of the following 6 steps. 1. Establish a comprehensive patient-specific database. 2. Identify patient-specific, drug-related problems. 3. Describe desired therapeutic outcomes. 4. List all therapeutic alternatives that might produce the desired outcomes. 5. Select the drug recommendation or recommendations that most likely will result in the desired outcomes. And 6. Establish a plan for therapeutic drug monitoring that documents that desired effects occur and undesired effects are minimized. In Canada, the need for pharmacists to document their activities in the healthcare record was brought up. In another publication, researchers concluded that pharmacy lacked a universally accepted, standardized, systematized approach to document the evaluation of a patient's pharmacotherapy. In the Netherlands, around 1996, the Dutch introduced different options to document pharmaceutical care. One computer system introduced an electronic patient dossier, abbreviated as EPD, but it could only be used in free text mode. However, the National Pharmacist Association introduced, at the same time, a system to document pharmaceutical care by using so-called care records for all computer systems. These standardized records were formatted as a medicine package record, and thus part of the medicine database that was distributed to all pharmacies. The documentation system allowed a centralized analysis of the care activities of Dutch pharmacies that could be evaluated. A more complete system, called PAS, was proposed by Van Mil and Tromp in 1997. This was the basis for the Pharmaceutical Care Network Europe, abbreviated as PCNE, system, for the first time separating the problem from the cause. A few years later, the Dutch National Care Record System was updated and revised. The Health Base Foundation created their own more detailed system for their specific pharmacy software, later followed by the other 3 Dutch pharmacy software houses that developed similar tools. Next we will discuss the use of computerized documentation to generate drug-related problem statistics. Even if documentation can be made on paper, software programs thus vastly facilitates the compilation of statistics and retrieval of data. In a comparison of documentation of patient-reported adverse drug reactions on both paper-based and electronic medication charts at a tertiary hospital in New Zealand, there were somewhat more discrepancies in ADR information between different information sources in the paper-based, that is 98%, than in the electronic charts, that is 90%. Pharmaceutical care documentation should include the category of the detected or prevented drug-related problem in the patient, the medication in question, and its dose, the pharmacy intervention category, if possible also the cause, to what extent an intervention was accepted and ideally the outcome. A connection of the documentation instrument to the patient's personal medication record or electronic dossier enables additional documentation, facilitating patient follow-ups. Besides drug-related problem identification and resolution, specific pharmaceutical care activities are sometimes conducted, necessitating other patient-related documentation. In an evaluation in Sweden, pharmacists first using computerized drug-related problem documentation demonstrated positive attitudes and experiences. In 2001, a drug-related problem documentation tool was incorporated into the dispensing software of all Swedish pharmacies, enabling local statistics at each pharmacy. 3 years later, a national drug-related problem database was established, to which all data were delivered, resulting in compilations and analyses on a nationwide level. Figures 8.1 and 8.2 show the documentation by drug-related problem category of the Swedish National Drug-Related Problem Database during 2004 to 2009. Thanks to computerized documentation, it was possible to generate a lot of additional statistics on identified drug-related problems in Swedish pharmacies, distributed to all pharmacies on a monthly basis. Such as types and number of drug-related problem per ATC group and of pharmacy interventions that could serve as educational material in continuing professional development for pharmacy practitioners, aimed at further improving the drug-related problem detection skills. It was then demonstrated or confirmed that different drug-related problem categories dominate in different therapeutic groups, such as ADRs in patients on antidepressants, e.g., mouth dryness, or on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, that is gastrointestinal disorders, practical administration problems with eye drops and no or an insufficient effect of analgesics. Documentation of pharmaceutical care, especially where free text fields are used to describe the patient cases, may also be used to gain a deeper understanding of both the causes and the characteristics of drug-related problems or to demonstrate the potential societal cost savings of pharmacy interventions on drug-related problems. Hence, pharmaceutical care documentation provides evidence of practice that can be used to further foster pharmaceutical care, as well as to draw politicians and other policymakers' attention to the added value of pharmacy practice. Pause the video and carefully scrutinize Figure 8.1 illustrating distribution of drug-related problems in prescription patients from 2004 till 2009. N equals 831,902 before advancing to the next slide. Pause the video and carefully scrutinize Figure 8.2 illustrating distribution of drug-related problems in OTC drug consumers from 2004 till 2009. N equals 160,853, before advancing to the next slide. Finally, we will discuss additional rationale for pharmaceutical care documentation. Already in 2003, the American Society of Health System Pharmacists Guidelines for Pharmacy Documentation in Patient Medical Record, abbreviated as PMR, were discussed in a publication, including types of information pharmacists should document in the patient medical record, methods for obtaining authorization for pharmacist documentation and role of training and continuous quality improvement in documentation. Swiss pharmacists recognized the importance of documentation of pharmaceutical interventions and believed it may allow traceability, facilitate communication with other healthcare professionals and increase quality of care. Surveyed general practitioners in Sweden demonstrated very positive attitudes towards the role of pharmacists in improving patients' drug use and managing drug-related problems. They also found presentations and analyses of their local pharmacies' drug-related problem documentation valuable. As previously mentioned, the use of patient medication records and performance of different types of medication reviews in various settings are very helpful in capturing drug-related problems. See Chapter 7. Thank you.